Welcome to, I almost said Deep Night Revelation. No, this is the Pirates of Drinax. We will be picking up where we left off last week. These guys, a whole bunch of stuff has happened. So these guys are actually on the surface of Oghma. They have hijacked um, a threshing Oar-class Oghman raider. And aboard that ship, they met a woman named Yij, and she is what would be called a wasteland ranger. She kind of knows the she knows the planet pretty well, and she can make her way around. And she agrees to assist them. And her recommendation, of course, was to put on the dress as an Oghman would, to not draw attention and don't talk too much. Let her do the talking, and then she wants to introduce them to a warlord named Hink Tebreja. And Tebreja he was a preeminent major warlord of Oghma, but he has some pretty radical ideas that he inherited from one of the warlords previously, whose name still escapes me because these guys met him so long ago. But anyways, Hink Tebreja, he studied off-world, and he has come back to Oghma with these radical ideas, and he wants to kind of transform Oghman society. And this didn't sit well with the powers that be, namely, or really the power that be's. There is a supreme warlord named Maker God, and his lieutenant, a warlord named Kruge, and they kind of dish out who's going to be a warlord and who isn't. And for the most part, most of at least the most powerful warlords, have access to resources and manufacturing on the planet. And Maker God pulled those away from Tebreja and gave them to another warlord because Tebreja was pissing him off. And so he's kind of in the background, but he still commands quite a few ships, and he's got forces available to him. And so Yij decided that it would be in their best interest to meet with him, and he would probably be able to assist them in any endeavor that they were looking to do. They are, of course, here at the behest of General Development Company and one of the administrators of Dome, down on Marduk. The administrator from Marduk, her assistant was taken by Oghman raiders, and of course they were present when the high port was hit. And so the Judecca representative suggested that they would receive great payment if they were to double the usual rate, if they were to go and rescue these people. And it has been, they've already found way more than they initially signed up for, and so here we are. They are writing wasteland Oghman breeded Kians to go to Tebreja's fortress, or manor, or I guess it's a fortress, probably a fortress. But anyways, they're riding these beasts of burden. They encountered a storm, and in the morning after the storm, they were attacked by some other raiders. And so that is, we will be picking up in mid-combat. I'd like to bring attention to the fact that we do have a merch store via Zazzle. We've got hoodies and t-shirts and buttons and Whiskey Rocks glasses and beer steins and poster maps and all sorts of stuff on that store. And 100% of the proceeds from that store goes directly back into our channel. So if you want to help us make ends meet at the end of the month, for things like Roll20 Pro and Incarnate Pro that we use to make some of our maps, go ahead and get yourself a t-shirt. Cameron made the design for the Pirates of Drinax Atomic Skull logo. And so go get yourself a Pirates of Drinax t-shirt, and we appreciate everything you do for us. All right, so Captain Beth. I mean, Wes isn't here. He's off buying a car. So, King, before we broke last week, he was using a shriek box. Uh,
Oh yeah.
and that. Oh, shit. I will find that. I believe it's a -2 to all of their action.
Dang. That's great.
But I don't know what the range on that is. So give me just a second. Oh my god. There we go. Let's see. Shriekbox. It is on page 60 of Central Supply Catalog. It says, oh, it's a -1 on all skill checks made by anyone within 15 meters who lacks ear protection. Um, and he has the TL12 version, so he can also mimic any voice. But so 15 meters is the distance, and I already measured this because I was testing out the grid snapping. The distance between Beth and this raider is 15 meters exactly. So here, all this bitching I've ever done for like what the past 5 years about how I didn't like that if you put the grid on, the tokens snap to the grid. They have added, if you right click on a token, they have added the advanced transform, and there is disable grid snapping. And so now you can move your character anywhere you want.
Sweet.
And it still measures. So I'm adding grids to every single map for every game that we use, because then you can use the measurement tool. And since we can turn off grid snapping, that just makes life so great. I'm so excited. So yeah, Beth, what do you want to do?
I want to step out and take a shot
Okay.
at this one, so I have less of a chance of hitting Wes, I guess.
Okay. Yeah, this guy's down. So
All right. Let's see. Am I using my laser pistol? I can, right?
yes, and he is going to. Okay. There we go again. He is going to dodge, but whoa. Oh, what? No. Hold on. I need to find dodging for cover. Or dodging. So penalty equal to what the penalty equal to is DX DM or is Dex DM or Athletics Dexterity, whichever is higher. Okay. So he so you're at a minus well, yeah, but he's at a -1. Never mind, it's 0. It's a wash.
Okay. Well, I rolled a 7, so
Okay.
sorry.
So between everybody doing things, the shot still misses. So yeah, with the 7, you narrowly miss him, and your laser scours this rock. The Raiders, I think the Raiders are probably going to want to bug out. I mean, one of them is outright smoldering and dead. The other two are unconscious. I'm just going to remove him because I'm not going to attack him if he's not here. So yeah, they are going to. Well, he can't get there, so they will move. He'll move to here. This guy will move to here, and because he only moves 6 meters. He'll return fire towards Beth, but he'll be at a -2 because of the tent.
All right.
Which means he gets a +1. And he's going to use... Sure, why not? He'll use full auto fire, so he will get to make 3 shots. That's a miss. That is a miss. Oh, 2 6s in a row. Come on. And a 7. He misses all 3 shots. This tent is like a wreck. But
We need a tent.
yeah, the tent is hold through, but he misses entirely. Keith, what would you like to do?
No, those guys are dead.
Oh,
Or they're out.
Okay.
They're unconscious.
all right.
I want to think I want to go this way if I can.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me.
Check. I want to go 6 meters.
Oh, you want to go 6?
Yeah, so like right there.
Okay. He's going back.
I'm wondering if I can see from back here.
That guy running away, maybe.
Yes. So 6 meters. You were like right here. Oh no, I guess you are in the right spot. I would say. Yeah, I'll let you shoot him. Looks like he's
Okay.
about 20 meters away.
I'm gonna use the Gauss rifle.
Okay,
So I'm gonna do it on auto.
let's see here. Gauss rifle range of 600 meters. That is short range, so you get a +1 to your attack. Or each of your.
Oh, that gives me an 8 then. Nice. So I got 8 on my first hit.
That is a hit. Go ahead and roll damage.
That's 4D, is that right?
It is.
So.
Yes, 4D.
Wow.
Good.
16 damage.
And it also has.
AP5, right?
I believe that is correct. Yes, AP5 and a scope. So that's bad for him. 0 there, and he will take 1 point here. Your second shot.
All right. That's 12.
Okay. That would be 4D plus 4 damage.
Plus 4. Okay, so that's 19.
Yikes. Okay. Oh boy.
You still kicking?
Yeah.
Nope. Not now.
Nope.
Great.
I guess that's all my shots.
Yeah, I mean,
You need it.
you've got a third shot if you want to make sure he's dead, but he goes down.
Cool.
I'm happy with that.
Okay. Yidge. Actually, does she even have to move?
She can see that guy,
Yeah,
I
she
swear.
can see him. Okay, and she is using a sniper rifle. Okay.
Yes.
Just a plain old sniper rifle. Hooray for tech level 9. And she's got... a 1 to your attack. Oh my god, she hit. Alright. +2 to damage. Ouch. And 18.
Can you hear me?
I can.
Yeah.
Hooray!
Yay!
Yay. You know what happened?
What?
Somehow mute got selected.
Oh, yeah.
No matter what I did, it wasn't working.
Oh, yeah. Well, that would do it. Okay, so she does 16. He's only got 5 for AP or for armor. I think this fight's gonna be over. Ooh, this guy's clinging to life. And he drops as well. And that's it. That is everybody. So you've got, let's see, you got 4 that are unconscious, and 1 that is pretty much vaporized, completely dead. But there are 4 unconscious ones. 1 of them is in bad shape. And I tell you how bad. He has 1 in his strength left. That's it.
Wow.
The other 2 stats are zeros. So, I mean, quite frankly, he's lucky to be there. Yij comes over and immediately starts rifling through, and she, in her heavy Oghma accent, makes the statement that well, none of them are carrying any signs of who they work for. This was a professional job.
Oh.
Yeah, I was curious how they found us.
She said, "Oh well, you know that there are always how you say talkie talkers at the starport that will sell information."
Mm.
She says,
I think we should.
It's not anybody's fault. They may have even seen me going and buying the Kian and assuming that something was going on. It only took a glance."
Can we use like fabric from their armor to patch up our tents? Because it seems like we might die of exposure if we don't fix it.
That's not a bad idea. Does anybody
It's not a rollable thing.
so does she even have? She does have it.
Of what?
Do any of you have survival?
Survival.
0.
Hey,
Mine's
that's
at
better than
0.
nothing. If you can make a well, before I say that, you know what? This is the first time I've ever had to use survival. So,
Yeah.
I'm actually shocked that anybody's got it. Let's see here.
I got a -3.
I was gonna say, yeah. I mean, you can still make the check. So, yep, it says education. So, anybody who wants to can make a survival plus education check.
Oof. 5. I did not do well. You jerk. Okay. You did good.
I got 11.
Okay. And did Gregor want to try or? Oh. Oh no. All right.
You poke yourself with the needles trying to sew.
That's too many. Well, she is able to patch together your tent. So the downside was that Gregor actually, God, look at that, 5 ones in a row between 2 people. That's idiotic.
Great.
She's able to patch the tent together despite Gregor
getting in the way.
Yeah, Gregor kind of got in the way of the task check. So Keith did really well. Then Gregor came in and just, just ruined it. Kind of like your dad would claim you did when you were holding the flashlight for him. It's your fault. And so she rifles through. She takes, of course, their ammo. And behind this outcropping to the west, she finds that they had some Kian that they had been riding as well, and so she kind of tethers them together, and she's going to kind of disperse the weight on them. But she tells you, she says, "Oh, these will sell good." These will sell well. And she
Thank
takes
you.
their ammo and weapons, and um, everybody can make a recon plus intellect check.
Yay, 14.
That's 11 or 13.
Okay. Nice. So
Neat.
all three of you see her as she's, rifling through these guys' stuff and loading up these Keon. You notice that she kind of pauses and is looking over the corpse of the guy that was badly mutilated. I think Gregor's when he turned him inside out. And she's kind of looking him over for a minute, like she's debating whether or
Hungry.
not to take it with her, and then she kind of notices you guys looking at her, and she goes, "No, never mind. We will keep the rations that we have," and and you guys
Hungry.
load up onto the Kian and continue on your way. So it's about another. God, I need to look. I know, I suck because I don't know my metric system completely off the top of my head.
2,000 kilometers, right? Is how many we were going total?
I think. Let's see here.
It's going to take a while.
2,000 kilometers. Hell, that'd
Holy
take 10 days.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's probably not quite that far, but because these are 1,000 kilometer hexes. Man, that's a big planet. And so it takes you about another couple of days. In fact, we'll just do this. Wow, it takes you another 6 days before you arrive at this this large compound that is built into kind of a cliffside, and this compound it juts out of this cliff, and even at a distance as you're coming up on it, you can see that there are signs of higher technology than you would have expected of most of Oghma. But then again, the Oghman city that you were in was peculiar to begin with. So it was a weird conglomeration of stuff. So their average tech level is like tech level 9, right? But you're seeing tech level 15 stuff in a few places that is leftover junk from the Sindalian Empire from 2,000 years ago. And then on the other side of the street, there are medieval style buildings that look like they're out of a Viking village with TV antennas on top. I mean, it's all kinds of wonky. But this looks like this looks like it used to be a bunker of some kind, probably from the Sindalian era, that has been repurposed. And Yij calls out and says, "The ahead, that is Hink Tebreja's fortress." And you guys kind of make your way in, and there's nobody to really greet you at the entrance to this place. Yi just kind of lets herself in and leaves the door open. She finds a location to kind of, I guess, kind of like a bunch of stalls, or at least a covered area where she can stash the Kian while you're inside, and you head in. And as you walk in, a person comes up to you wearing very plain, basic clothing, and says, "Oh, how may I help you?" And Yij kind of introduces you and says, "We are here to see Mr. Tebreja." Out of another room, you see an individual come out, and he is pissed off, and he's yelling at this person that greeted you, and she immediately drops to her knees to the floor. Hold on here. Here it is. What do you guys want to do?
I'll see where this is going.
Yeah, this other individual, he's not dressed too differently than she is, and he's got a stun stick that he's hitting the button on, like he's gonna fucking zap her, and he's yelling at her in uh in kind of Oghman-ish. It's mixed with Galanglic. And so the gist of it, you kind of get that he's pissed off that she's not doing the work that she's not doing the chores that she was supposed to be doing.
Oh, well, that's understandable then.
Well,
There's
we
dinner.
stepped in and may have interrupted, so maybe that's the problem.
Oh, do you say that?
Yeah, I'll say something like, we just arrived, so we may have interrupted her chores.
Go ahead and make a persuade plus social check.
Okay.
If you persuade him, he's gonna stun stick you.
Let's see, what is my persuade? Oh,
-3.
that gives me a 4.
A 4. Okay. Well.
Not very convincing. That's okay. You tried. That was nice of you.
I forgot that my persuade was not a skill that I had.
Man, you better do your work in Oghma or you'll end up like being sold to a restaurant, getting your ass beat with stun stick.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So
What's your problem?
so Keith kind of says, "Oh well, it might be our fault. You know, we may have interrupted her," and the guy with the stun stick just reaches out and hits her like right in the armpit and just zaps her for 11 points of damage. And
Holy shit!
she passes out immediately. She's unconscious, and he goes, "Yes, but she knew better." And Yuge kind of is like, "Oh, okay." She says, "You seem a mite touchy compared to the last time I was here. Is Mr. Tebreja home?" And the guy with the stun stick says, "Yes, I will go get him. She'll be fine." And he turns around and walks off.
Yeah, she'll be fine for dinner.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, 11.
Dude, should I do first aid on her while he's away?
You can, yeah. Yeah, go ahead
That was a
and
lot.
make a medic plus education check. And you get a +3 to that for your med kit.
Okay, cool.
Or, I'm sorry, a +2 to that.
15. I did amazing.
Yeah,
Wow.
so you essentially break out some smelling salts and wake her up. And she's very thankful. And, as soon as she's, give her a minute to get her bearings. And then she's immediately up and moving around trying to hurriedly go back to doing the task that she was supposed to do before. And finally, out comes Mr. Tebreja. There he is. So this is Hink Tebreja comes walking out, dressed much more. He's not dressed like the average Oghman. Okay, so he comes out and he appears dressed more like in a nobleman or the business attire that you would expect to see on like Tobiah. And he comes out and immediately comes up and wants to shake each of your hands. Oh,
Holy shit, he's pretty high social
yes,
and everything else.
yes. He comes out and he immediately welcomes. He turns to Yij, and he says, "Oh, thank you for coming back. Thank you." And he comes up. He says, he introduces himself and shakes each of your hands. And Yij Bayal tells him, "This is really not my issue. I will let them explain. I'm not even sure why they're really here. They just wanted to come here, crazy fools." And he kind of laughs at that. And he says, "So, what brings you to my little corner of Oghma?"
So I don't think we want to start with with the full story, but maybe we could give him some information about how we could potentially help him with his buildings.
Well, okay, we've been to Oghma twice,
Mhm.
and we're kind of sick of this planet's shit. So if he could help clean it up, like we'll do our part to assist in that, and we're like a good ally. We've made a lot of moves around the Dust Belt that he might be aware of. So that'd be great if we could cut it out with the kidnapping and eating people.
Well, let's see.
You know what we should do? We should get those aliens that are vegetarians here. Right?
Right.
The militant vegetarians, the Kakri.
Yeah. They'll stop this shit.
Yeah, and then they'll starve to death because there's nothing to eat.
Well, there's lichen and mosses.
Yeah.
The Kakri know how to cook really well, so
That's
that's
true.
one thing that they can.
Well, at least that one that has the cafe in the lower city over on Thief, yeah.
Oh,
So,
I thought they were all like that. Okay.
well, I mean, I'm sure that their vegetarian cooking is probably better than most.
Yeah.
I'd hope so.
Of course, the the Villani have a culinary tradition called shugli that may actually make for some pretty good vegetarian cooking because the planet that they were on never had anything that they could digest. So they had to come up with this entire ritual and new way of cooking food in order for them to eat. But anyways, he kind of is taken aback at your bluntness, and he says, "Well, it's interesting that you say that." And so he invites you over into a side room, and he says, I too have had kind of these feelings." He says, "So how much do you know about Oghma?"
How much do we know about Oghma?
Well, we know some ancient history, but we don't know a lot of the current history.
Yeah, that's true. We don't know the contemporary reason why it got this. But we know about they got bombarded.
So he says,
Yeah.
yes. He says, we suffered as much as any of the other worlds in the Empire. Of course, when the Empire fell. And he says, so not very long ago, and he does mention. He says, I know of the warlord that you speak of, and I knew about your previous trip here to Oghma. In fact, I suspect that I know who you are. He says, if you are who I think you are, you have been some very naughty individuals yourselves throughout the Trojan Reach.
Yeah, fair enough.
And he says that that doesn't matter to me. Of course, he says, you're on Oghma, the naughtiest of people of them all. And he says the previous, well, not the previous, but the warlord that you had met with before was almost successful. And he wanted to unite all of the other clans and warlords under one banner, and he wanted to do away with Kruge and the Maker God. And he was almost successful. But, of course, Maker God couldn't allow that. And so he had him put down. And things kind of went more or less back to the way they were. He says now, he says, you might notice that I can speak Langlic without an accent. That is because I studied off-world on Tobiah and came back here. And many, he says, many that are not from Oghma would probably question my sanity for wanting to come back to my home. But he says, the fact of the matter is that I think that Oghma can be much greater. And he says, I believe that that warlord that was put down was on the right track. And in a similar fashion, of course, Maker God removed my factories from my control and gave them to another warlord named Gridden Kahlo. And I have been denigrated to a lesser power. But I do have I still have a fleet of 16 raiders, 2 carriers, and 4 ships that have been captured, all in my name, and I have an army worth 6 brigades. He says, so I'm not entirely toothless. He says, what I propose, well, first of all, I need to give you a better map. Because he's going to tell you a whole bunch of stuff. But a moment. And this campaign has generated a lot of folders. There we go. So he pulls you into another room, and in this room is a large round table with a holo projector on it. And he brings up a map of Oghma, and it is this map here. And he tells you, he says that you're here, just north of the city of Goth and Oghma Downport, and just south of the Lenav Caldera. Now, Oghma is exceptionally volcanic, and as you can see, there are volcanoes all over the place. But these volcanoes, even beneath them, there are calderas, and of course, in the past, the Sindalians went ahead and utilized that geothermal energy to their advantage. And for the most part, much of the manufacturing that goes on today uses a lot of that power. But it's not like any of the Oghmans themselves would have any inkling on how to do that. And he tells you, he says, you've probably noticed, he says, myself included, that we rely on off-world slaves. And primarily the reason that we take off-world slaves, much to the debate of other worlds, it's not, we don't take them to eat them. We're not strictly cannibals by choice. He says it's simply that there is no livestock on Oghma. There is no there's no meat. There's nothing but lichen and mosses. He says, I suppose you can grow accustomed to it if there's enough spices. He says, if there's enough spices, you can eat almost anything. He says, but very low on protein. And so this is where some of that rumor comes in. No, the reason that we take these people is because we don't have the technological know-how in order to even repair the most basic of things. And so the raiders go out to take these people and bring them back and force them to work. I personally am under the assumption that this entire situation on Oghma is by design. So all of the technology that Oghma creates in and of itself comes from here. And he says this is the Asphodel facility. It's called it's a manufactory. This is the home of Kruge and Maker God. And it uses, of course, the geothermal energy coming from the Ochre caldera. He says there are underground rail lines that deliver goods to all of the cities. And there's a rail line that delivers parts to the Oghma downport. And so they will receive these manufactured parts. And then it is the job usually of slaves. Sometimes there's some augments for menial labor, but they manufacture our ships at the downport like you would manufacture a kit vehicle. And he says that's why our ships are so iffy when they first come out. They have to be used for a while before they can be proven. He says, I suspect that that Maker God and Kruge are forcing our people to be cannibalistic. They are forcing our people to be less educated in the sciences. I don't know to what end, but my plan is I think that we need to put a stop to it.
All right. Are we going to assassinate these two guys or arrest them or what?
So
Yeah, do you have a plan for dealing with them exactly, or is that where we come in?
he says, well, he says, before you jump too soon to join my cause, he says, and you won't want to breathe a word of this to anybody else on Oghma. He says, look where it got me. He says, I believe that Maker God and Korge the Blind are the same person. He says, perhaps
Wow.
person is the wrong word.
Spicy.
He says that
What is he then?
He says that there was. He says there was an artificial intelligence that ruled Oghma,
Oh.
and he says that this artificial intelligence, of course, it took the brunt of the attack as well, and so I believe it is damaged. But at its height, this AI was so powerful that it created android bodies for itself at the Asphodel manufactory, and that way it could go out into the rest of the Trojan Reach and experience life as a person, and then bring that knowledge back. He says, I believe that Courage the Blind is one of those AI, and I believe that it is directly controlled by Maker God. Maker God being that damaged AI.
It sounds correct to me.
It would explain the name.
It would explain the name.
He says, now, I have come to believe that there are certain technologies that can be used to suppress Maker God's ability to control Oghma, and it could pave the way for our people to start charting their own destiny. He says, let's see, he says they're really these are really quite simple things to do, to have, at least to start. I need, or you will need, a portable computer of tech level 13 or higher. And I mean, I already know that Tang's got that.
Yes.
The second part
As do I.
and he says the second part is that you will need intrusion/3 or higher software.
Awesome.
King's already got that.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think he does have. He's probably got /3 or better. He says the last thing that we need may be the only one that may be difficult to obtain. I need a high-tech communications jammer. Now,
We might have to leave to get that.
Shit.
yes, he says you're not going to find one of those probably on this planet, and I don't know if you would already have one. But I will allow each of you to make a roll 2D plus education.
8.
10.
And 9. Okay. So, I mean, as soon as he says that you need a high-tech communications jammer, the first thing that the first location that comes to mind is Tech World.
Right.
I mean, they build all of this high-tech shit, right?
So this is like a long trip, kind of. I mean, it's short in like the scope of the game, but it's a long way to go for one item. So what's the plan once we get this thing for him?
So what he tells you is that the plan is, let's see here. The plan is, once you have this equipment, that you will be able to use the high-tech jammer to basically cloak your approach and presence, and you would need to enter the Asphodel manufactory, and of course that's going to require your portable computer and the intrusion software in order to get through the computerized doors. Once you're inside, he says it would be in all of Oghma's best interest, I believe, if you were to shut down the artificial intelligence and put an end to Krug the Blind.
Okay.
Too bad we can't bring the one out in the gas giant and replace it.
Well,
Maybe we can.
yeah, but you would want to get rid of this one first.
Yeah.
Most likely.
So would we just like whenever we have all the 3 of these things show up there, or does he want us to rendezvous with anybody?
That's a good question. He says, well, there's a couple of options. He says I could of course send some of my brigade to escort you back to the downport. You could take your own ship. I mean, and he kind of says that with a smirk. Your ship, referring to the threshing ore that you pirated. He says, or he says you could join one of my crews, and they could go with you. However you want to decide to handle this is pretty much up to you. He says, I can tell you. He says, if you join one of my crews, they may not always act in the interest that you would choose. They are raiders.
Okay, fair enough. Well, we got some time to think about it too, because we got to go all the
Can
way
their
to
ship
Tech
even make it to Tech World?
That is, well,
We don't have to take it. We can go back to the Osiris.
Yeah,
true.
we
Go
could just park this somewhere.
Park that somewhere. Yeah.
That's true.
Because they only got jump 1.
True. So let's take a look at. So they are a trinary star system, and of course this is Oghma's the prime system. Osiris right now is parked at their large gas giant Ralalantra. I mean, theoretically, you could go over there, park the dock the threshing ore with the station that is in the atmosphere of Ralalantra, and take Osiris wherever you want to go.
That's what I was thinking.
Perfect.
I concur.
Okay.
Ma'am, Lord, Admiral, Queen.
My name tag's like this long.
Right. That's kind. So I'm doing the updated gods, and it's like it's got the whole entry starts with their name, and then under it, like the first entry is, basically what are they known by, other names, and it's like 5 items long. It's like, wow, okay.
A lot of AKAs in there.
He has a lot of AKAs. So I guess. Well, he essentially loads you up into an air raft, and he sends Yij Baal with you. He tells her that he thinks that it would be in Oghma's interest if she joined with you for this endeavor, and to make sure that Oghma's interests are withheld. And he also, as he's talking to her, he says, "Oh," and she turns to leave, and he kind of grabs her shoulder, and he says, "Oh, I wanted to give you my condolences about your husband." He says, "I noted that he's not with you, and that can only mean that that something has happened to him." And she kind of looks at the ground for a moment, and then she looks up and says, "Well, I thank you. Yes, I am on my own." And so he loads you guys up into a carrier. He's got plenty of these. Into a Doomsayer Grav APC.
Ooh.
Nice.
And along with several of his brigade, and they zip off back to the starport. Now, of course, it's not going to take you as long to get there because this thing flies, right? So yeah, it zips you back over there, and in a couple of hours you are back at the starport. Back up to our big map.
This thing ain't cheap.
No, it's not. I mean, it's tech level 9, but well, I mean, it does hold 14 passengers and only needs a crew of 3 to operate it. So yeah, 6.1 million, 6.2 million. So
Well, wait a minute.
Beth, you can. Well, we'll go ahead and forego that. You are able to. Well, no, we can't really forego that, can we? Go ahead and make a piloting StarCraft plus Dex check.
10.
Okay. So you are able to take off and from the starport, and you receive an automated response giving you clearance. But the weird thing about their starport is it doesn't give you any notification or whatnot on whether or not the pattern is clear. It's just like, okay, you can go.
Yeah.
And so,
All right.
so you lift off, but you're also receiving a data stream. Who wants to make a electronics computers plus education check?
I'm busy, so somebody
I
else.
can do that.
I can do that.
Unless Glenn wants to.
I got a
Sure.
+2. What do you got?
Oh, I also have a +2.
Yeah, go ahead.
You
for
go
it.
for it.
Nice.
Heck yeah.
Nice.
So this data stream that's coming back, they may not tell you anything about the pattern in the sky coming into the starport, but what they do tell you is they give you information on secret fuel dumps, which allows for the threshing ore to cross over mains. So, for instance, there is a fuel dump here. And
Ooh.
there's a fuel dump on here. There's another fuel dump here. And yet another fuel dump here. So technically speaking, using these secret fuel dumps, these floating depots, a threshing Oar-class ship could refuel at these fuel depots that are floating out in deep space, and it could make it all the way to Tech World, but it would take twice as long as would be necessary by taking, of course, the Osiris.
Okay.
Yeah, it would be a lot longer.
We'll take the Osiris. That's what we'll do, but that is handy.
All
to know.
right. So what
Somebody wants chicken.
what route do you want to take from Oghma?
Any ideas?
So we could go to Torpal, Blue, Arunseer, and then take that fuel depot that they told us about between Akron and
No,
Inring,
but I think that
and then go to Tech World.
I think that the fuel depots are only for Ogman ships, and that somebody's gonna fuck us up if we try and take it.
That's true. That might happen.
That's the impression
We
that I
could go to
got.
Turple, Drinax, Huffler, Tech World.
That's true. You could do that.
We haven't been to Helfer.
I don't think we have. I'll check out Hilfer. Yeah, let's go. 1, 2, 3,
4. So 4 weeks in jump. So probably around 8 weeks total. Probably cut that down to
and
6 weeks.
Yeah.
Who wants to make the astrogation check?
Kevin.
I'll do that.
Okay.
Let's see.
Astrogation plus intellect or education.
Okay.
I'm +3.
I'm +4 on it. So
Go ahead.
Yeah. I got 11.
Okay.
Doing math.
Let's take a look at Hilfer. So let's see. Hilfer looks like it's probably well, there's an easier way to do this. All the way down to the index. See what it says. Hey, there is something on Hilfer.
Do we say hi when we go through Drinax?
Oh, so this is interesting.
Got to fuel up at Drinax. We might as well say hi.
You can, yes.
Check to see how our repair robots are doing.
Who wants to
Since
make
we got
the engineering power plus intellect or education check?
Gregor usually does that.
Yeah, I don't have that skill.
I do. I'm +3.
Sweet.
The maneuver drive the maneuver drive on the Osiris takes up half of the power points that are being put out by the power plant. just to move it. Okay, so yeah, you're able to transfer power, and then somebody can make the engineering J drive plus plus intellect or education.
So that's 13.
Okay, perfect. I'm not going to make you roll for every single jump. Stopping over in Drinax, you kind of catch up a bit on the news. And there is some news coming out of the Aslan Herate that has made it to Drinax that evidently, and I need to look at this specifically. What is this guy's name? His name.
I wonder how much of this dust belt we're gonna lose.
Right.
We'll see.
So, there is a news.
I lose the whole thing.
You're right. Yeah, you might lose everything. So, coming out of Tyok, there is some there's news about a minor skirmish that happened on one of the high ports around Tyok concerning some Imperial Marines and a what is she? She is come on. A female Aslan named Fire Hero. And Fire Hero is a low-level merchant on Tyok, and there was some kind of kerfluffle involving Imperial Marines, and they were kicked off of Tyok. The Aslan Herate or the clans decided, the clans that rule Tyok decided that it was better to simply exile or 86 these Imperial Marines rather than having them. Well, I mean, everything there's going to be execution. I don't even think that. I doubt that the Aslan even have prisons. Yeah. So it was.
Yeah.
It was in the Herates and the clan's best interest to just kick these Marines off of the high port and send them on their way with a stern scolding. It doesn't really go into too much about what happened between the Marines or Fire Hero, but the story then does go into the fact that there is a high-ranking Aslan that has ties to Fair Hero, but the translation kind of breaks down, and it is very difficult to really gather. It doesn't seem like he's family, but he has some connection to the family. and it's implied that at times that he's some kind of warrior prince. It's very hard to translate between the Trock uh, and the new and Galanglik, and so the news has come out in a very muddled sense. But it is known that this guy is named Tirlos, and that he has made his way out into the Dust Belt, kind of being a high-ranking Ihati. He's out looking for land, but
Okay.
he's got wealth and backing behind him. And so it's very hard to figure out quite what's going on from the news that has come out.
Well, he can settle on Drinax down on the planet.
So, well, it's passing through Hilfer. According to the database on the Osiris, it says that Hilfer is a hot desert world and was once part of the kingdom of Drinax. A rebellion cost Hilfer dearly as the planet lost the technology to maintain the water reclamation technology that kept the desert at bay. So this world at one time had basically atmospheric evaporators that would draw moisture from the very air. And they kind of went up in rebellion against the kingdom of Drinax many moons ago. Probably.
Do they have a city called Mos Eisley?
They might. And so this rebellion, of course, it was while the kingdom of Drinax was a part of the Sindalian Empire, it went badly for them, and they were kind of bombed into submission. And in having done that, they lost that ability. They lost the technology, and so now it is pretty much just a dry dust ball. But it does have, let's see, what's the population here? So it says, oh, I know how to find out. We'll do it this way. What is this planet like? I can tell you exactly. It says that it has, well, it's got a B-class starport, so can't be all that bad. Of course, that doesn't say much. It is about 8,000 kilometers in diameter, so it's a little bit larger than Mars, but not quite as big as Earth. It has a thin atmosphere with a pressure between 0.43 and 0.7.
Sorry, time for a breather.
Yeah, I mean, probably not a bad idea. Probably, a rebreather or a respirator. But it doesn't say that when is required. It's not tainted in any way. So, but you might be out of breath pretty easily. And then what else is here? Is that? Whoops. Yeah, between 0 and 5% for hydrographics. So when they say desert, they are not fucking around. There's nothing there. And then population.
Sounds like Tatooine.
Tens of millions.
What? Oh my gosh.
Live on this shithole. And its government is balkanized. There's no central authority. Rival governments compete for control. Law level refers to the government nearest the starport. Multiple governments, possible civil war. Example, contraband. It varies. Probably depends on the law level. So let's see. Law level is again 7. Yeah. Pretty much anything less than blades and stunners. So shotguns, all firearms, shotguns are banned. pretty much mesh, cloth, flak, combat armor, battle dress is banned. You know,
Well, let's go in our battle dress.
right?
What are they going to do about it?
And but it says this is weird though, because it says it's. That's strange. Maybe. Is odd. What's that A? B550777A. 77A. Huh. But it's tech level 6. But it used to be a part of the Kingdom of Drinax. And the only reason why I say that that's interesting is that, I mean, you theoretically could go and say, hey, you know, we're putting together a new kingdom. Although, I mean, they did rebel against Drinax, so maybe you don't want them. They sound like jerks.
Yeah, fuck those guys. Can our starship run off of sand? Or is there something else we can refuel it with?
Right? I hate this place. There's so much sand.
There's no gas giant either.
Fuck.
Yeah, there's no gas giant. There's no water on the planet to crack for fuel. So, I mean, there's probably some kind of belt. I mean,
Fuck, I hope so.
I don't know.
We stuck on
They got a Class B starport. They got to have some fuel.
Now, yeah, right. It has to be coming from somewhere. Let's find out. Let me take a look. Let's look at Hilfer. It says generate a world map, and then I will regenerate the system. God damn, there's nothing. Okay, there's nothing here. There is a class M6 5-star. There is Hilfer at 0.2 AU. So yeah, it's going to be a little toasty there. And then there is at 1.12 AU. There's an ice world that is orbited by 2 more ice moons and a radioactive moon. Then at 4.3 AU, there's another ice world, and at 32 AU, there's an ice world that has a big world moon, a worldlet, and a radiation world. And that's all that's in that system.
So we could probably refuel by just breaking the ice at the.
Yeah, you could land on an ice world. I would imagine they probably have a number of, like that one that's at 1.12 AU. They probably have a bunch of ice miners that are out there that are hauling water or hydrogen back and forth to the starport for refueling purposes. That's got to. I mean, you're guaranteed work there.
Yeah.
All right, I guess that's where we're getting our fuel from. Because I don't want to land on Sand Planet.
Yes. She suddenly becomes Anakin Skywalker. Sand gets everywhere. So, you guys arrive 6 weeks later at Tech World.
Nice.
How do you want to go about this?
Well, we could. Unfortunately, we don't have our broker with us, but
They don't give a fuck. We can just ask for stuff. Like, they don't care on Tech World.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean,
you
you guys assisted them in basically getting out from under Jadeko. You supplied ships to aid in their protection. I mean, you could probably
we could call it a favor. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So. So this is the one time. So there's a new book out called The Borderland, and it is just this square of this subsector where Tech World is, and it tells everything about all the planets in this sector. And I'm like, this would have been handy 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Oh, that's why I'm not finding it. It's because I'm in the wrong subsector. Like, where did he go?
Ugh.
Ugh. Here's lagging a little bit.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm getting some stuff out of my way here. Interesting. Okay, hold on. That's not a problem. I have the power.
So, are we at Tech World now?
Yeah, hold on. I'm coming up with a.
Do we all have disguise nets?
I thought.
Unless you throw it out.
Yeah, we have a full body disguise nets with the face and everything.
Yeah, I thought you guys had all that.
I'm just
We have
double
to
checking
hide.
since we're here, and if I don't have it, I'm going to buy it.
Oh, right on. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I think you guys already have those.
I recall purchasing 4 so that everybody could be disguised.
I want an auto hacker. I might as well buy one.
You can do that for sure.
I never shop in the catalog, so I don't know what
So
is
so
available.
the auto hacker is actually in the what is it called? It I was right there. It is in the book, the field catalog, and I will pull that up in just a moment. Here we go.
You got to know what the price is, right?
Yeah, I gotta know how much it is.
How much credits do you got?
I have a lot.
Okay.
So it's funny because I did find something in the Journal of the Traveler's Aid Society that's very similar to an auto hacker. It's essentially a it's essentially just a laptop computer that is specialized with intrusion software. But I think overall, I think that the auto hacker is better. Okay, so this is Tech World Starport. And
yeah, it's super cool.
as you come in, so the Tech World Starport is actually made with this strange, like, nanotechnology that there's just this black dome sitting in the middle of the city. And as ships approach, the dome actually reforms and builds a landing platform or causes a hole to open for ships to enter and leave. It's creepy. Captain Beth, go ahead and make a piloting plus dexterity check. Well, you set down.
11.
Oh, nice. Okay. So you get clearance and you are able to set down in the port. And let me find the auto hack. Oh, yeah, this is the book that doesn't have an index. Ugh, God.
Yeah.
I believe it's under personal equipment.
Oh, they got desert suits.
Yeah, the field catalog is really geared towards mercenaries, but there's a lot of stuff in here that I was like, there's really no reason why you wouldn't want that. Maybe it's not in person. Faraday weave clothing.
Oh,
Here it is. So it is on page
they have
1.
a ice terrain kit. We could get that when we go back to Oghma.
So the auto hack is on page 134.
Mhm.
And on
How much?
page 135 are the different tech levels of auto hack that you can purchase, of course. And so Tech World has they are, shoosh, they're way up there on tech level. Let's see. If I can get my, here we go, tech level. Yeah, they are tech level 14.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, you can get the sky's the limit up to tech level 14 as far as electronics goes.
Okay, so what does it cost for the TL 14 or the highest level
That would
I could
be
get?
15,000 credits.
15,000? Wow.
Dang, dude.
I am definitely buying that.
And so that makes it looks like how this thing works is that makes any intrusion or let's see. So, for example, it's been hired to retrieve certain cops are using commercially available security system, and it's a quite good one. Standard AUTAC will defeat the security on most personal devices because those common systems are known to the unit. So essentially, it is you would make a computers plus education check, but it makes the difficulty easy. So you only have to get a 4 or higher,
Nice.
which
That's
most
great.
people
That's
can
gonna
get
be
even with a -3.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, that's a good purchase. And then we need a signal jammer.
We need a signal jammer.
Signal jammer.
An advanced one, right?
Yes. So it is, yeah, to a high-tech communications jammer. And so each of you can make a streetwise. Well, as you get off your ship, you are approached by an android that you have met before. Oh my god, I can't remember her name. Anyways, this android approaches you. She has. The only reason that you know that she's an android is because you were informed of such before. But she is a liaison, and she as you get off of your ship, she meets you at the starport and kind of you know, does her best to mimic a smile. It still comes out a little bit creepy, but she does a smile and she says, "Well, oh, it's good to see you back at Tech World, my friends. When I saw that you were landing, I chose the position of being a liaison. Liaison, they usually send out a robot or an android because their Tech World is divvied up into multiple areas, most of which are either going to be pretty much high-tech research, because this place is essentially like a mad scientist's dream come true. There's no checks or balances on the research that's done. And there is the rest of it. They have something ridiculous like a 70% of their population on Tech World is a robot of some kind or an android. There is one small section near the starport that is kind of designed for Luddites, basically anybody who's not a robot, for Sofont crews to relax, but it's still a little weird. And so in a lot of cases, they assign a liaison bot in order to assist crews moving around. You've met her before. She comes up and asks you, she says, why have you, why have you come back to Tech World?
I realized that I had never hugged a robot before. And then I go in for a big one just to see what it's like.
Aurelia, that's her name.
Well, now she's been hugged. I hope that this gave her a soul or something.
Yeah, she still
But
looks a little
really,
creepy.
we're here for a high-tech communications jammer.
Okay, so you go up and you hug her, and she's like, "Oh, it's good to see you too," and oh, you know, so I don't remember if Gregor's been to Tech World before or not.
Have
Uh,
you?
I don't remember being here.
All right.
So
It's pretty cool.
um, Keith and Beth, you can make a Recon Plus intellect check.
Oof. I got a 5. I did bad. No, wait, 6. I did bad.
You're busy with your hug.
I guess so.
I got 11.
Good for you.
So Keith, you kind of you get the notion of watching Aurelia, your liaison android. It seems like she may have gotten a software upgrade or maybe a new skill package, but she seems, on one hand, she seems a little bit more human than she did the last time that you were here. But on the other hand, with that, she also seems like she's a bit more awkward. Like she doesn't quite know what to do with this new humanness. And and so Beth hugs her, and Aurelia's arms are just kind of straight out. Like, I don't know what to do. I've never done this before. And and so
right.
you guys ask her about the communications jammer, and she says that Tech World does construct such devices. In fact, that we have a contract to construct such jamming devices for the Florian League, and she kind of mimics a human by putting a hand up, and she kind of whispers. She says, "Evidently, the Florians are concerned that they're under surveillance," and and she says that she knows that they're constructed here on Tech World, but she's not sure exactly where. She says perhaps asking around. Yes, you can buy a gas pistol. Perhaps asking around the port town, you might be able to pick up a few leads on where to pick one up.
All right, let's start asking friends, and I'll just roll better this time.
So Gregor's buying himself a Gauss pistol. Good idea.
You should be getting subdermal armor, but anyway.
Yeah, I mean, if you're here, you could go under the knife, and you could get augments. Like I said, up to tech level 14. Make yourself more human than human.
I guess they're not takers. They aren't jealous of my many surgical.
I already
scars.
have the subdermal implant
You
as high at
do?
level as I can get them.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
You copied me. Okay, never mind.
I thought we got them at the same time.
Well, I forgot that you did it. That's all.
Yeah, as you make your way through the I guess the spacers section of the city, you are bombarded. There are these little boutiques that are more like what you would expect of if you went into a mall and you wanted to get a tattoo or to get your ears pierced. But instead they're advertising, Kyotek cyber eyes, see everything, and then there's like these 3D holograms, showing, and there's brothels that have nothing but androids to cater to every fashion. Don't worry about insulting anyone. And there's a number of different bars. There is, of course, a generic, newly opened.
Oh, good! I can have a generic beer.
Yes, you can have a generic beer. Comes in a white bottle. It's a white aluminum bottle that just says beer in black letters on it. You can also buy a bottle similarly that says whiskey. It's just the most generic of things.
How about scotch?
Yep, there's yes, there's scotch, there's Tobayan brandy, there's all sorts of generic goods here. Um,
Romulan ale.
no, Romulan ale. But everybody can make a streetwise plus social check, and in addition to that, and actually, let me double check something. Streetwise. Oh, you know what? I'm wrong. You can make a streetwise plus intellect check, and for every 100 credits you spend greasing palms, you can add a +1 to that to a maximum of a +4.
I greased 200 creds.
Okay, so you get a +2 to your streetwise plus intellect check.
I
Okay.
got 10.
That was wise.
Okay, so there's a 10. We got 2 10s. What about Captain Beth?
I got a 9.
Okay. So you discover a couple of pieces of information. So Gregor, you learn that buying drinks around the generic bar and grill, you learn that a Florian delegation is going to Exoset Downport, where they will be sitting in on a demonstration of high-tech jamming gear capabilities. And it says your contact in the Starport bar says that the security is likely to be relatively light because of it being out in the middle of nowhere. Keith, did you spend any credits?
I didn't spend any credits.
Okay. Well, you strike up a conversation with somebody getting a holographic tattoo that tells you that the Tobayan Commerce Guild, otherwise known as TCG, has an exclusive shipping contract with Cyric, and TCG has been receiving operations at Torpal and Exoset, where their goods are transferred to bulk traders, or I'm sorry, bulk freighters.
Nobody? Sure.
Mm.
There you go.
So,
And Beth learns that the jamming gear in question. Beth, did you spend any credits?
I did not.
Okay. You learn that the jamming gear in question is manufactured by a regional corporation called Consumer and Industrial Robotics, Electronics, and Cybernetics, otherwise known as Cyric, who has offices and a factory here on TechWorld.
Okay. Well, that's a good place to start.
So, kind of gathering all three of you together, you learn that Cyric is the one that's making these things, and that they have offices here. You learn that evidently TCG transfers the goods at Exoset to bulk freighters, and you know that that there is going to be a Florian delegation at Exoset to essentially get a demonstration of how these things work prior to being loaded onto bulk freighters shipped to the Florian League. So, I mean, if you don't want to buy one, you know where they'll be.
right.
All right. Well, I'll ask the offices first in
We
case.
could steal all of them.
You
if we wanted to.
could steal all of the. Let's just blanket the planet with signal jammers and
But
screw
they
that
like
AI.
us here. I'm gonna fuck that up.
I'm just kidding.
Particularly.
No, let's see if we can buy one first.
Yeah.
So, out of curiosity,
Can I get subdermal armor?
you could. Let me take a look. Are you sure you don't want a genetic environmental adaptation? You could breathe underwater.
No thanks.
Mhm.
I don't take showers.
Where is it? Why am I not finding this book sometimes? Torso. Altered appearance. Do you know what page that's on?
54 in the update.
There it is. Gotcha. So yeah, I mean, so it says mesh and ballistic fibers to the skin reinforces bones. Not upgradable. Yeah, you could do that. But
How long does it take to heal?
that's what I'm looking for. That is exactly what I'm looking for.
I do not remember from when I got it.
Oh my god. Let's see. Augmentation.
Oh, Atom Falls is released tomorrow.
Which one?
Atom Fall,
Hmm.
kind of like, sort of, kind of not like a British Fallout.
Nice. I don't think it'll take too long because these guys have a attack level 14 hospital. So it looks like so medical care. I don't even think that I would need to roll for this. I would say you're gonna be down for 2 weeks in healing.
Okay. Let's do that. That way I can even heal on the ship if I need to.
That's true.
True.
Yeah, the Osiris has a med bay, and I mean, you've got an extra
Yeah,
dock.
we'll buy the stuff while you heal up. That'll be fine.
So Gregor's going under the knife for subdermal armor, and Beth and Keith is it your plan to head to Cyric's offices and see about purchasing one?
Yeah.
Okay. So, both of you. Well, you enter these offices, corporate building, very high tech, a lot of whites and light grays all over the place. And there is, of course, a large lobby desk, and there is a robot behind the desk that turns and looks at you and says, "Hello, how may I assist you today?"
We're looking to buy some high-tech equipment, and it seems like you guys are the place to acquire this equipment. So,
He says,
Is this the right place to buy that, or do we need to talk to someone else?
the robot says, we are not a retailer, but we may be able to facilitate. How many units do you need?
3.
One.
Well,
We need one.
yeah, we need one, but we might be
We
willing to
want
pay for
15.
Yeah. So, go ahead and make a persuade plus social check.
persuade.
Yes.
Okay.
Do you want me to?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. I got a little bit. 6,
Better than my -3.
10.
Ooh. Okay. So the robot says, usually we only deal in higher loads. What exact piece of high-tech equipment are you looking to purchase?
Well, I might as well disclose it. So we're looking for a high-tech signal jammer.
He says, he says, please hold.
We happen to have 3 in stock.
He says, the robot says, please hold. And you can kind of see his head kind of crook to one side for a moment. And you see some lights on the side of his head kind of zip back and forth. You know, his LEDs for his hard drive are working. And you see the LED of the Ethernet flashing. And he says, one moment, someone will be down to discuss this matter with you. And after about 30 minutes, you see elevator doors in the back of this lobby open, and this guy comes walking out wearing he's dressed in a business suit, but over the top of it, he's got a lab coat on. And he comes out and he says, so you're here looking to buy a high-tech communications jammer? Is that right?
Absolutely.
And he says, and you only want to buy one?
Well, we might be interested in more. We'd just like to explore the options here.
Ooh. Go ahead and make another persuade. Keith, make a persuade plus.
I have to make the.
Plus
Okay.
social
Stop saying stuff if you hate rolling these. Like, honestly.
I got 8.
Oh, that's not
Okay,
bad.
no, that's fine. So he says, okay. He says, well, normally we have a exclusive contract with TCG and the Florian world, but he says, I think maybe we can work around that. He says, now these are. He says, I'm just gonna tell you. These are not cheap, but
Right.
he says he does not recognize who you guys are. He says, but he says I think we can work something out, especially if it's something that you're just wanting to test out. He says, if you would be interested, we are having a demonstration of the product in 2 weeks' time on our loading facility at Exocet. If you wanted to see how it works before purchasing.
We might be interested in that.
But we gotta buy one. No matter
Yeah.
what, so.
Yeah. So what's the what do you mean by they're not cheap? Like what are we talking here?
He says they usually go for 3.2 mega credits each.
Okay, we can afford that.
Yeah, we could buy one easily.
Yeah. We could purchase that.
And so he says, okay, I'm sure that we can. I can just go ahead and say that one fell off the freighter, and we'll chalk that up to loss, and that'll get us around our little exclusivity contract with the Florians. And he says, and he kind of looks around the room. I mean, there's nobody else in this office other than the robot. And he says, so you're not doing anything illicit with this, are you? He's like,
Well,
you're not pirates.
well,
Of
where we're
course
doing
not.
this is lawless anyway, so not really.
Says, okay, yeah, I can see your point. And so, yeah, he says, all right, that'll be 3.2 million credits, or 3.2 mega credits.
I have subtracted that amount from the collective fund, and so we still have 11 mega credits left on that.
Okay, so
we're gonna say we might be back because they might have something interesting for us later. So
yeah, this was a good deal to make for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so he goes ahead and he takes your information, and he tells you that he'll have it delivered to your ship at the port.
Yes.
Awesome.
Excellent.
So the one
And
thing,
Gregor's like all on narcotics and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Control pain.
the one thing that this doesn't say is it doesn't really tell much about what this thing is. I mean, obviously, I know what it does, but it doesn't say what it is or how big it is, or so I'm going to assume that at at this tech level, it's probably about the size of a suitcase. I mean,
All right.
considering the power and the range that this thing's going to be putting out, I would say that's probably about the size of a suitcase. And you are met at your ship, and some medical robots wheel Gregor to the ship and kind of take him to the sick bay, and you are the delivery robots are loading it up into your cargo hold of the Osiris. And he kind of follows along, and he tells you, he says, so these babies are really easy. He says all you have to do is connect it to your communication system on your starship, and he says, and it will broadcast a jamming signal in a roughly 4,000 kilometer radius.
Excellent.
That's perfect.
Yeah, that's exactly what we need.
All right, I think this is a good spot to break. There it goes. We will break here and pick this up next week on Wednesday night at 6 o'clock.
Thank you so much.
I just sent an update to my character sheet.
Excellent. Thank you, sir.
Oh, cool.
Thank you.
All right, we'll see you next time.
All right, I will see you guys next week.
Bye.
Bye. Have a good night.